Well, I've been a feminist all my life. I'm a lesbian as well, so I'm a lesbian feminist. I'm a writer, and in the last 15 years I've moved into working with visual work. And during I did a BA, and during the BA I was very discouraged from making anything that was political. So when I did my MA, which was in the last 3 years, I was determined that I would explore feminist art, and I wasn't very encouraged in doing that, but that is what I've done. In the first term, I started a group called Feminist Art CAS at the university, and that developed very well over the 3 years that I was there. And this year we had a big show called Fans of Feminism, and we're going to do another one. So most of my artwork is focused on feminist most of my life, and one of the things that I got involved in the early 70s, we started Lewisham Women's Aid, which was domestic violence, and since then I've been involved in a whole range of feminist activities. Well, I support feminism in London because I'm a London feminist, I suppose. I think it's great that, in the last, I've just been really aware, having been a 70s feminist, that in the last 10 years, and particularly say in the last 4 years really, younger women are now getting much more involved in feminism again, and with new directions, with not new issues really, but with new angles on old issues, and that's fantastic. I mean, that's so encouraging and so exciting, and older women like me are still involved, but it's great to think that, I mean, I was involved all through my life, with women's liberation from the 70s, and it's not called women's liberation now, but any form of feminism, right across the world. I find that very exciting and very, well, the two artworks that are going to be in this show, and one of them is called Zero Tolerance. Now, when I was doing my MA, there were 2 students on my course who were sexually harassed by a tutor, but they chose not to do anything about it. I tried to encourage them to. Came to my final show, I wanted to make a piece of work around that, and that's why it's called Zero Tolerance of sexual harassment, and it does go on in art colleges. So this piece is as if it's the way people carve their initials to say, JW loves TS or whatever. So I've carved into a piece of wood the question, are you the one who sexually harasses your students? So I want each viewer to be questioning how they deal with those situations, and round the base of the work is the question, or the one who connives, because there's 2 aspects to it. There's the person who sexually harasses, and there's their colleagues and other people who simply tolerate it and won't step out of line to do something about it, and that is as serious. The other piece of work that I've done is a piece called Etymology, and I looked up the etymology of the word cunt, which, as we all know, is considered a dreadful swear word and is used against women, men, cars, dogs, anything. But obviously, actually that word is part of our bodies as women, labelled like a swear word. So I've taken the dictionary, the etymology of that word, which is really interesting and contains an awful lot of history, and I put it in a gold frame, which encourages the viewer to view it as a special world, as well as other things that are attached to it. But with this piece of work, I found a pair of children's shoes, and they were very, very worn. They were falling apart, but they'd obviously been very well loved, little girls' shoes, and I put them with this piece. And the thing is, any child, any female child, has to deal with those aspects of how women are seen. So I placed the shoes so that her heels are sort of in the definition, but her movement is perhaps away from the sort of negative connotations of it. And one of the shoes is gold, so it has sort of the two aspects perhaps of her life, the kind of golden ones and the sort of everyday ones. Yeah, interesting enough, that piece was in my final MA show, and I noticed that the external examiner could not speak to me about it. He couldn't bring himself to speak about something that used the word cunt. But the other thing that's worth saying about that is that when we did our show, Shauna, who may well talk to you, produced these badges that said, "I heart my cunt," and they sold like hotcakes, which is amazing. So it means that young women are I want to show these works at the conference because I think art is a very powerful way to express ideas and to contradict images and to show other images. So all the art we see is very what I call patrifocal. It's focused on things to do with patriarchy, and art also follows what I call a patrilineage. So if you talk to, or if you read something about a piece of art, it will always relate back along what the male line. So it'll refer to previous male artists ad nauseam, really. And what we have to do is get the women back in there. One of the things that came out of my MA work was a new word. I was interested in ideas that are beyond patriarchy, and I couldn't find a word that looked at the fact that we need to break through patriarchy, we need to rupture it, but we also need to have to be, to exist. So I created the word isrupt. So it's women, if you like, or ideas, art post-patriarchy that exist, but also have ruptured through patriarchy. So those ideas I want to see at the conference, and to encourage more feminists to perhaps use feminism in their artwork, and to see feminist artwork as really crucial.